to Lagos Farmer. My name is Taiwo Barua, and as usual, I don't do this alone, right? I have Aditi Judilesi with me in the studio this afternoon. So we're going to be doing justice to the conversation with our guest. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lagos.
How are you today?
I'm cool, Taiwo.
How can you be cool under this sun? Where are you from? You're definitely not from this planet.
Our listeners know that it's cool in here.
Right. I get you. All right, good afternoon, Lagos. Good afternoon, Nigeria. We're back on the block again to talk all the concerns food production in Lagos. That's on Lagos Farmer. All right, our guest on the program this afternoon is Grace Omonale. She is the head group development and management subcomponent at LSADA, that's Lagos State Agricultural Development Authority. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
All right, it's good to have you on the program.
I'm happy to be here.
All right, so this afternoon we're going to be focusing on feeding Lagos, securing our future. All right, let's get down to business, Grace. Transitioning from individuals to groups, how does RID identify and incentivize individual small-scale farmers to move away from dependent farming and join formal cooperative societies?
Okay, thank you. I like to let us know that LSADA, Lagos State Agri Development Authority, consists of several components and we work hand in hand. So transitioning from individual farmers to group is first of all the work of the extension components. The extension components consist of agri-extension agents, which will do the job of identifying the individual farmers and bringing them together, letting them know that it is better for them to be in groups rather than operating as individuals. So at this point, Rural Institutions Development Officer is now brought in to let them know the importance and how to go about getting registered as a cooperative society. Everything they need to put in place for them to be registered is now the job of the Rural Institutions Development Officer. Then get them registered. So thereafter, they can now start benefiting from government and non-governmental organizations that have concerns for farming businesses.
That's a nice one. Can you now, you've talked about the role the extension officers play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can you now expand on your own role in galvanizing these individuals into successful cooperative societies?
Okay. Rural Institutions Development as a component consists of 3 subcomponents.
Okay.
But the first one that I am the one the head of that subcomponent is the group development and management. So after which the extension agents have been able to talk to the individual farmers scattered all over within a particular location, and they have agreed to come together as a group. A Rural Institutions Development Officer will now come in, organizing them, putting them in proper, telling them what to do, how to coordinate themselves, like holding meetings, the kind of monies they are supposed to be putting together, the documents they are supposed to get, so that they will be viable group that the government can work with.
Okay. Quickly tell us the other. You said that is one. What of the other two arms? So
Okay, the other two arms, we have the agribusiness, business development and marketing.
Okay.
Agribusiness development and marketing is a subcomponent that is responsible for the sourcing of inputs in whatever form, either seeds, chemicals or fertilizers or anything, implements and machineries.
Okay.
And this same department, subcomponent, is also responsible for the marketing of the produce or the products afterwards. Then the third one rather is, we call it microfinance support,
Okay.
which is also called financial inclusion. This subcomponent is responsible for linking farmers groups to sources of loans, credit facilities that is good for the farmers to work with, so that at the end of the day, they don't just use all their money to pay interest to these organizations, because some loans are not good for farmers. Some
and they
are
might not
good.
know.
They might not know.
And farmers will always
Need money.
And then these loaning bodies will always come to them. Sweet talk them.
Yes, we talk them without letting them know the details.
Yeah.
So when you say certain loans are not good for farmers, how do you mean?
Okay, certain loans are not good for farmers because if the interest is too high, the interest rate is too high,
Okay.
that the farmers at the end of the day, after they have worked so hard, they will now use all the gains to pay interest on whatever
But
loan they have
business
taken.
owners have to work hard.
Yes, but if they are now using all the gains on the loans they have taken to pay for interest and nothing is left in their own pockets, we see it as not so good a loan for them to use.
So how do you determine the kind of loan that is good for farmers?
Okay, normally we look for where they can secure loans that are the interest rate is in single digits.
Okay.
Okay.
And the first bank we normally refer them to is Bank of Agric, which is a government-owned bank.
And what's the interest rate like?
The interest rate is single digits.
Okay.
But I think farmers will need to insure the loans that at about 2%. That is what will now bring the loan to about 11. Okay. But the real interest on the loan is about 9%.
9%.
Okay.
All right. Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. You're listening to Lagos Farmer this afternoon. So, economies of scale and input access. Can you provide specific examples of how group formation has enabled farmers to negotiate better prices for essential inputs like seeds, fertilizers?
Okay. There is what we call group purchase. When the groups come together, put their needs together, and they are buying in bulk, the rate at the cost price is less, so to say. So instead of going to the markets, buying maybe 2 bags, 3 bags for farmers, if they're able to put their needs together and they know that in this group we are buying 200 bags, the cost price is reduced because they are buying in bulk. Transportation is reduced. And at the end of the day, when the inputs are purchased at a cheaper rate, by the time their yields come out, it will be more because the money they would have spent on the inputs, they are going to buy more, and at the end of the day, their outcome or the yields are going to be more.
Nice. So government intervention. Or there is government intervention, and then there are non-governmental interventions, right?
Yes.
Are there? Can you name some of these government or non-governmental interventions to support these groups or these bodies? Do they support just individuals, or groups, or they prefer to support groups? And then if there are, which are some of these interventions?
Governments or none will support in groups. And if there are facilities meant for individuals, the individual must definitely be a member of a group.
Okay.
So the individual must first of all be identified by the group
okay,
before the government or those non-governmental organizations can relate with such a person.
Okay.
Because if the intervention is even in form of grants, the government or those non-governmental organizations will still need some form of information from them. That after analyzing this information, they will know if the purpose for which this intervention is given is fulfilled or not.
Okay.
Because there are some governments will not give them money anyways.
Okay.
Governments will rather give them input, seeds. And so at the end of the day, they want to know the seeds we gave you, what is the yield?
Yes.
How were you able to manage it? And they will need this information, that's the record and all the other things they will need from you to know if it really worked, if the program or the project is going to continue or not.
Yes.
So if the information they are now getting, like the reports, the records are good, they will know that, okay, it's something we can do. But if it failed, they know that we have to change our focus and do some other things.
Oh, beautiful.
Still talking about financing agri-business, how does collective power of a registered cooperative lower the risk of financial institutions, and how has this increased access to credit for farmers? We have to understand that the government can't possibly be there for every farmer in Lagos. At certain points, you have to connect with other financial institutions. So how can collective power of a registered cooperative lower the risk of this financial institution?
As a cooperative group, you cannot have a cooperative group without some form of savings.
Sure.
If there is no saving, then it's not a cooperative group. So we encourage that the farmers have a certain amount of money they save at every meeting held.
Okay.
And when this money is accumulate, it will get to a time they'll start giving themselves, credit facilities before any government intervention comes. So we encourage them from the onset that they start saving. And after a certain period of time, they can start giving themselves loan, so that the group won't just be there waiting for government intervention that may delay in coming, that may not come at the time they need money or credit. So by the time they are saving, and all of them cannot need money at the same time. So by the time they are saving, and some individuals within the group are needing money, instead of going to commercial organizations like banks, they can borrow themselves money within the group, and the interest rate they pay on such loan is minimal. It's affordable. It's their money. So by so doing, the rate at which they need or they go to commercial organizations for credit facilities is drastically reduced.
Great. Are there training programs for these cooperatives from time to time, or they are left to train themselves, or what's your intervention?
Okay, from my own end, we do what we call sensitization and orientation.
Okay.
It is during this period we tell them what to do in organizing themselves, the roles of the executives and the roles of the members, how to choose their leaders, how the leaders should coordinate the groups, and every other thing they need to know. Aside that, when we present them to Ministry of Commerce,
okay,
for registration. They too have what we call induction course that they do for the executives.
Okay.
So by so doing, their leaders are properly trained, and they do revalidation too. And during this revalidation program, they are also retrained on how to run their activities so that they won't have issues. Though it is not possible for them not to have issues. So for that, we have a department or a table for conflict resolution.
Okay.
So that when conflict arises, there are people to take care of them and to ensure that the group does not scatter.
Okay.
All right, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Quickly, let's take a look at what some parts of Lagos are looking like this evening. We have an incident report from Surulere. Men of Lagos State Public Works are working on a field portion of the road at Stadium on the main carriageway in Wadalaka, and the backlog is somewhere around Barracks. So I understand traffic has been diverted to the service lane, while traffic managers are well positioned within that area. If you're heading towards Okiodu, it's still very good within that corridor from Al Maruf, Ilekbo, Super, Jubilee Bridge, Aboliegba, to the ascent and descent. Very smooth one to Ahmadiyya, Ijayi, Kola, Moshalashi, and the toll gate. Return journey from the toll gate to Aboliegba and then is the bridge is very encouraging in Wadabatua. Charity intersection to Social Club and the adjoining roads are looking very good. All right, back to the conversation this afternoon. Now, let's take a look at mentorship and the kind of access that people have. How do you hold people's hands through the journey in farming?
Okay, the extension agents are the one that really do that. And the extension agents have information, new technologies from the research institutes through the technical components of Lagos State Agri-Development Authority.
Okay.
So when the technical department, we call them subject matter specialists, that is the people in that department or component. When they go to the research institutes and they bring in information like new technologies and stuff like that, it is handed over to the extension agents in trainings at FNTs and area meetings. FNTs, fortnight trainings for extension agents. So the moment these extension agents have this information, by the time they visit the farmers or the farmers groups, this information are passed down to them. So they know how to do better.
I asked this question.
Activities.
Yes, I asked this question because for some people that are quite knowledgeable with some things and they do not transfer this knowledge to, the younger generation, chances are that, this knowledge goes into extension. And so how does READ ensure these farmers groups remain functional and self-governing once a specific government program or intervention donor project, completes its maybe tenure?
There is a fortnight visit by extension agents to every group. Aside the fact that extension agents visit these people, an RID officer is attached to every zone. We have 3 zones in Lagos State, 3 geographical zones. We have the Far Eastern Zone, we have the Eastern Zone, and we have the Western Zone. And the RID officers will be visiting the farmers groups, the farmers cooperative groups, attending their meetings, ensuring that they are still together. Either there is government intervention or there is no government intervention. Remember, I mentioned about them having their own activities aside whatever government can do for them or not. So while those activities keep on, their groups will keep functioning and with the visits from the extension agents, bringing in new innovations and new, information from research institutes, we see that those the groups or the farmers continue in their activities. Aside that, Lagos State have programs for youth empowerment, and that's the one they do in Araga.
Yeah, the Araga program to empower
youths.
Yeah.
So at the end of these programs, the youths are encouraged to form themselves into group. So by the time the set, like the ninth set, they will now come together and form themselves into group, get registered. By that time, they are always together, holding their meetings and doing their farming activities. Even at the Farm Service Center on Okoba Road, trainings are going on for youths, empowering them, to know in their specifics, like in poultry farming, fish farming, and crop farming, so that these youths can also go after their trainings. They will go and continue doing. Right now, I have some people that just finished from the Farm Service Center that's trying to put them together and get them registered as cooperative groups, and they have about over 50 of them in a group. So with that, we know that the youths are already in, and if it continues like that, we are
tell us how large, or what's the minimum number to recommended to form? What's the size?
That's the minimum is 20.
It's 20. Okay.
But it does not have maximum. But we normally advise that there are not too many.
Okay.
Because when government intervention comes and it is addressed to a group, you realize that it is good to have a smaller group than to have a bigger group. Because when it comes to sharing, people that are fewer in their groups will enjoy the the intervention more than people that are like maybe 50, 100 in their groups. So we normally advise them, but it's not pegged at a certain
You mentioned
figure.
that government will prefer to give incentives like tools and things like that rather than give cash. Why?
Yes. From my personal experiences.
Spanning how many years?
Over 20 years.
Okay.
We realize that farmers will not use the cash to do that purpose.
They will go and marry more wives.
And Jeoye.
Chieftaincy title.
Yes, chieftaincy title. That's when they will remember that maybe their grandfather that died, they have not reburied him. They want to do, all those stuff. And by the time you come back to get the information you need as your own for your own report writing, the information is not available to you.
Okay.
So governments will not give them cash. Even if it's in a case of cash, you will tell them as a farmer, you tell the government what you want to use the money to do. They will now pay for that thing for you. Let's take, for instance, you need fertilizer.
Yes.
And government wants to support you in buying the fertilizer. You will tell them where you want to buy the fertilizer and the type of fertilizer you want to buy. They will now pay these people. You will just go there and get the number of bags.
Awesome.
For you.
Awesome.
All right. So basically, what advice would you like to give farmers in Lagos as we wrap up the show?
Okay. That farmers in Lagos should seek more knowledge, because we are not supposed to be static. And every day, new innovations are brought out of the research institute. The research institutes are researching every time, every day, and they are coming up with new ways of doing things. Now that we don't even see farming as farming, subsistence farming is now farming business. Agric is now a business. And so the way you do the farming in 10 years ago is not the way you do it these days. Things are changing. So the farmers cannot afford to stay in the old ways. So they have to learn new ways of doing the same thing they are doing for them to be better than...
And in learning, they need to come together.
They need to
So
come
that
together.
they can, the more, like they say, the more the merrier, right?
Yes, sure.
Awesome.
And even amongst themselves, there is a time for experience sharing.
Yes.
So that if you have gone through a certain issue, when we come together and you share your experience, I will learn from it and I won't have to go through such again.
Exactly.
So there are more to gain amongst themselves or within themselves when they come together as group than being alone as individuals.
All right, this is where we get to wrap things up on today's edition of Lagos Farmer. I must say a very big thank you to you for coming on the program. We have been speaking with Grace Omonale, the head Groups Development and Management subcomponent of Lagos State Agricultural Development Authority.
Yeah, so this program is brought to us today by Lagos State Agricultural Development Authority, a subsidiary of Lagos State Ministry of Agriculture and Food Systems. You can reach us on 080 320 1282 080 320 1282. My name is Adedeji Odulisi.
And I am Taiwo Barua. The program makes a return next week, Friday at 4:30. Enjoy the rest of your day, Lagos.